Hey, this is Eve, the author of Detox with Ease and the website detoxthebodymcs.com. And I just wanted to talk about depression because when I was depressed, I was like the only one depressed back in those days. It wasn't even a thing. Now everybody's depressed. So I am no longer depressed. I've been pretty not depressed for several years. And but I was depressed for decades. I had a chronic, ongoing, clinical, and then I also had not only chronic, but when I was younger, I had the other kind, the intense kind. I was even locked up in a mental hospital, and they wouldn't let me out because I was like laying around reading in ripped jeans. Like I wouldn't get up and do their activities, like make wallets and shit. Anyway, that really was awful experience. You're like, yeah, that's why I'm here. Like, anyway, my dad finally came and rescued me out of that place, but it was awful. So I just want to give you that because I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just like sitting here happy and doing great, which I am now, but that used to irritate me, like happy people. Anyway, that was a long time ago. So if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, the bell button, and all. If you hit the bell button and all, then you can get the notifications when I'm going to come on. You can come on, you can ask me any question, you can call in, or you can post in the chat. So I just want to give you a few tips and things on how you can heal depression. And, my illness, I had multiple chemical sensitivity, and I was really dying from that. And that is, when the turnaround, well, there were a lot of turnarounds, but it was a major turnaround in my life, in major healing, because I was going to die. I was dying. I couldn't go anywhere for a couple of years. Everything made me sick. This is a terrible illness. If you have it, it's like a nightmare. So there was one point in my illness where I came to this realization. I was like, well, it's either them or me, and I choose me, because everything would be bothering me, like people's perfume, people's candle, a bar of Dove soap. Like it didn't matter what it was. Any chemical I would seriously react to. So I was always trying to still like people please and be a good person and go along, until one day I was like, you know what? It's just me. It's just survival at this point. Staying alive was my motto. And anyway, I healed myself over time. It took a lot of changes. Then also one day I noticed, hey, I'm not laying on the couch like I used to. I used to lay on the couch like, everything was hard and everything felt like take too much energy, and I wasn't that interested in a lot of stuff. I mean, I was interested in my mind, but I wasn't interested enough to actually get up and do it. So that is a depression. I thought it was depression because those are signs of depression. I had depression my whole life. But depression is also interchangeable with chronic fatigue. Depression is also interchangeable with a lot of other illnesses. So, I healed my physical illness a lot with mind, body, and emotional techniques, and physical and detox, because that's a huge part of depression. That's what I figured out. I was like, oh my God, I totally healed my depression and my anxiety. I used to be very anxious about money. I'd always be stressing. The thing is, I lost my anxiety. I still had the same amount of money, which was like zero in those days. But I wasn't anxious. I was like, oh, I got a roof over my head. I managed to eat. Why? Anxiety is a condition. It's not really about your circumstance. Like if you're getting ready to get murdered or mugged and you're scared, that's different than this just chronic anxiety. So rule number one, turn off your TV. Like I didn't even have my TV on. I was always so sensitive. I had already been through so much by the time I reached 18 years old that I already knew not to watch TV, especially the news. And I knew it was all fake. And, the more you don't watch it, like if I go to the airport or something and there's like the CNN panel showing, I look at it, it's like, it's surreal. It's like a bad movie. You're like, wow, according to this, life is really awful. So also clean up your Facebook, right? I took almost all the negative people out of my Facebook because when you want to feel better, you have to do things that don't make you feel worse. So if I'm reading something, it's about some politics, either pro or con, either I agree with it or I don't, like it'll just give me a start and I'll start thinking about, whatever the problems of the world or my own personal problems. So I really cleaned out my Facebook and it's, you can unfollow, you don't have to unfriend, and they'll never know. And, just clean up. This is like detoxing your environment, detoxing negativity out of your life. And this will also make your whole body better because stress and negativity creates very negative chemicals in the body. It's very depleting. It's very sucking. It drains all your energy. And if we want to be healed from a chronic illness or depression, we need to have energy. So for me, a lot of my fine tuning after I did all that detoxing and physical healing on my body, I had to fine tune energy, because I still like low energy. And as you can tell now, I have ridiculous high energy. Like now I have to actually like calm down. So it's great. Depression, it has nothing to do with your actual circumstances. You can think, oh, she's privileged, blah, 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 and she has a place, blah, blah, snowing. She lives in Washington, D.C., she whatever. But in real life, if I could give you a real negative sob story, believe me, real bad. I mean, my family, I got dismissed from my family like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Anyway, it was sad, but, and I am so, I just had a birthday, like I'm getting way up in the years. Anyway, I could have a sob story, I have not been married, like I've had terrible relationships, I could be super unhappy. I was attacked a year ago. I was very damaged. I even got brain damage and spinal injury. But that was really the last straw, was when I got that attack in that year. I was just like, you know what? I refuse to be unhappy. I don't care what. Nobody can take away my happiness. And so there's a book. I know I'm all over the place and I don't script because I just don't have time. This isn't like, I'm not really making money here. I'm just doing it to help you. So hopefully make some money, but who knows? There's a book called The Untethered Soul that really helped me. That's one of my favorite. I have like a few favorite healing books and people. Untethered Soul combined with The Surrender Experiment. That's his 2 books, because in The Surrender Experiments, he explains his life story, because I'm the kind of person, I read a book, I'm very skeptical. I don't know what kind of jerk you really are, but he explains his whole life path, which you really understand him. So when you read The Untethered Soul, you can really say, like, this is a person who has experimented, for many decades with this philosophy that he has. But basically, it's that, when you go to get a pain or something, instead of like hunching against it, you just really feel it. You let it in. He's called like relax your heart, relax your shoulders. And then you just kind of also put it back into perspective. You're like, okay, well, this person hates me and thinks I'm evil. Like I could say my own family members, hurts. But, what is it in the larger scheme of things? So somehow it allows you to let go of stuff. And even so, I was having a terrible concussion. I couldn't even read hardly for like 2 months. I wake up in the middle of the night, all these pains, and I just feel like, okay, this is where I am now. It's scary. I was by myself. A lot of my friends did not come through for me. I don't think they understood how injured I was. They still don't, because I'm such a trooper. I am cheerful and happy, so it's not always helpful. All right, so read The Untethered Soul. Healing for Depression. Really, I have a friend, she's been depressed for years. She's my most beautiful friend, Sandra. She'll probably not watch my video because she's too busy watching really depressing feminist, how men are awful and all these girls and women are, being abused, which, it's good because she works in that. So it's great that she works and does something, but when you are depressed, you don't have the luxury to wallow in that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you got to save yourself first. Also, what does she do? Like the environmental stuff, you know? And it's like, and the chemical sensitivity sphere, if you get real into it and you start reading and you get into all these groups, like I used to be when I was trying to figure out how to get well, there would be like chemtrails. And I'll put a post, one of my most unpopular posts, because I have a Facebook page called Detoxing the Body and Health for Multiple Chemical Sensitivity. I used to make memes, and it was about chemtrails. And I'm like, you know what? You know, maybe they exist, maybe they don't, but that is a subject for well people to deal with. You know, right now, we're just trying to survive enough to go to the store. So, you know, I would notice if I start thinking about chemtrails or contrails, I start feeling full of fear and unhappiness. And that is very bad for any chronic illness, especially depression. So a lot of healing depression, which kind of goes along with this book, you know, The Untethered Soul, because really in the end, it's a bit of mindfulness. Like, okay, I feel terrible right now, you know, why? And then you look at it and you go, oh, it's because I just, you know, it could just be like you watch this show. Like there's a lot of shows, even if they're good shows, they can make you feel bad. And I don't watch them anymore. Sometimes I go to watch comedy, and like about 80% of comics I feel are very like low vibe, and I don't watch them. So sometimes it's hard to find the things that are going to make you put in a better place. Some are worse than others. And, you know, some of them really have value. Like I watched this amazing show, like Pole Dark. But it was historical. People are always dying and having tragedies, which is, it's real. It was a good show, but you know, I wouldn't always be watching something like that. They make soda with monk fruit and probiotics now. When I had chemical sensitivity, I wouldn't even eat out of a can because of the aluminum and the plastic lining, but now I have this luxury. Maybe I'll put it in my store. It's pretty awesome. Probiotics, right? Depression, healthy fats, which also healed a lot of my chemical sensitivity, because chemical sensitivity has a lot to do with the brain, the neurological system, the nervous system, as is depression. A lot of depressed people are super geniuses, like myself, like you, and very creative people, very deep people, empathetic people, feeling people. So you're this, you know, amazing person. And what happens, I read this once and I knew it was true, because I also am an artist. I was like, why are artists always, you know, going insane? Like, why is there a fine line between genius and insanity? Like, what is that? I knew it was true because I was living it. But I do believe it's this, is that our brains are firing like so fast. There's so much going on. Also, these emotions, there's just a lot going on inside, and we need fuel. So it was like saying, they made this analogy like putting gasoline in a jet. So we're like jets, people who are very creative, very intelligent, also emotional. You know, people with just a lot going on. We need a lot of extra fuel. So I eat a lot of fats, a lot. And I noticed that made me feel better when I was, you know, probably one reason I got sick was that I was, you know, never eating fat since I was like 12 years old, because also I became a vegetarian for like 15 years. Then I stopped that because acupuncturists, they knew I was a vegetarian just by feeling my pulse. And they're like, that's why you're always grouchy. And I'm like, oh, I'm not saying that everybody's different. And then that's just my own situation. You know, I would eat just peanut butter and jelly. I wasn't like cooking, you know, these amazing healthy foods all the time. I was 13, you know. So until about 30, I think I will start eating meat. So you need these fats, healthy fats: avocado, seeds, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, sesame seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, meats. So only grass-fed meat, and I only eat grass-fed and organic. almost always. You can find it even if it's not labeled that. Some like the halal lamb. A lot of it comes from Australia, where they have, a very amazing grass-fed diet. So you can find good meats. Doesn't always have to be written organic and grass-fed. And that if you eat it, eat the fat. Like, don't get that boneless chicken. Like, I didn't eat fats for years. That's probably why really I got sick. Not everybody needs the same amount of fats, not everybody is the same. That's also what I learned, A lot of people are going to go sell their products and being like, do this, look at me, I'm amazing, But each person is different, I did try all the diets. I tried a raw and the vegan, this, that, and the other, and I just wasn't for me at this time. And also our bodies change over time, so we're not always the same. So healthy fats is amazing. Cutting down on sugars or eliminate them is amazing, which also includes carbs, especially refined carbs, but even just tons of carbs, because it's burning like sugar and it's like a fast burning fuel. So what happens is like it burns fast, and then you get a little bit of energy from that fuel, and then since it depletes fast, sugars and carbs, and you kind of go back down. It's a little bit like drugs. Drugs also are not helpful. A lot of people on drugs are just, amazing people that need a little extra coping skills. Really, a lot of people on drugs. I mean, I was on, I was drinking a lot when I was a teenager, smoked marijuana and all that. Sometimes, like, especially in the lockdown, like sometimes, found myself really wanting to have those drinks, and, I'll do it if I feel like it, but in the long term, it's not really a good situation. So that's just a few things, I think just with that, meditation, yoga, moving your body, and all of these things that are very going in nature, noticing who makes you feel bad in your life, and if you can get away with them or lessen contact with them, do it. If you can't, you can change your thoughts and your own feelings. It's good to do both. It's good to be able to withstand anybody, but, that's just theoretical. We're not the Dalai Lama. Depression, chronic illness, detoxing. I mean, there's a lot of these things that are weighing us down and sucking our energy and causing us to be depressed. But right now it's epidemic. I don't think about the coronavirus. I live in Washington, D.C. I do my best not to think about politics, not to engage, and not to look at it. If you really disengage after a while and you see it, you realize it is mostly just made up by the media to get you upset. I mean, that's the number one reason for news. And it's not that intelligent. It's not that deep. They're just saying the same little blip all the time. It's just like you have like an abusive boyfriend or husband. They're going to say the same thing over and over again because it's the thing that gets you, until one day it doesn't get you. But the news is the same way. They're just triggering stress, anxiety, unhappiness. That's how they sell more stuff. It's just the nature of sales. I'm going to go because I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. But I wanted to just throw a few things out. If you come to my channel, or you can put questions in the bottom. The most important thing, don't kill yourself. Even my sister told me one time, she's like, oh, I want to, several times she said she wanted to kill herself. And I'm like, I used to be suicidal from like 12 to like 25. Every day. I used to just be wrapped in a blanket. And like, I was so depressed. It was ridiculous. I really hated life, and I hated myself. I hated my family. I hated the world. I hated the system, everything. What was my point going to be about that? Can't remember. I did have a brain injury. Anyway, get out of the blanket. Just accept yourself how you are. You are as valuable as anybody on this planet. That's the thing, you know, like because of TV ads, everything is like even more. Every year is like more ads, you know, and I even have an 8-minute ads Instagram where I'm always putting pictures of these idealized, gorgeous women and men because it helps sell my program, 8-minute abs, amazing program. If I just put myself on there, probably wouldn't get that many clients. But so the thing is, we're constantly bombarded with this thing from outside, you know, which is like, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Like, it's just constant. So at one point, we just need to really grapple and understand that we are good enough, like, period, you know, like, even when I do these videos, like, it could take me forever to get ready. There's always something else about myself or my house or my whatever that's not quite, you know, where I want it to be. And, you know, you just have to like take a moment, be like, okay, that's, you know, good enough. You know, we improve ourselves as much as we can, but we love ourselves in any instance. You know, we love our body, our mind, our environment, and we're not here to live anyone else's life, anyone else's expectations. You know, it's all about you. You want to say, you can do whatever you want with your life. You know, you could, I'm in the process of totally changing. I've been making money in cryptocurrency. I have a channel, Bitcoin Kindergarten, where I teach crypto. And I decided to start dressing different, you know, how to really kind of like become a little, you know, relaxed. I'm just doing the whole level up thing and just trying to change everything. I mean, why not? It's my life. You know, you don't have to be, it's harder if you're married or you're living with a lot of families because they want you to always be that same person. Usually, most people, that's how their default is, like, they just want you to be the same and they don't want to change themselves. People are always projecting all this crap. So whatever people are saying to you, it's just so irrelevant. You know, it's probably nothing to do with you. I used to really take it to heart what people said about me. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm this kind of terrible person, you know? Oh, yeah, you're right. Or even just the TV says I should be more thin, I should be more young, whatever. But it's like at one point you just have to get a handle of that self-love. You know, it takes some work. You gotta do all that Louise Hay affirmations. Like, healing is a lot of work. You know, it could be fun, enjoyable work, but you gotta, you know, listen to those affirmations. You gotta do those meditations. You have to change your diet. You have to change things. You have to be very conscious in your life. Otherwise, you can't really escape. You know, you can only escape temporarily. But, you know, escaping, like smoking marijuana, drinking. I know so many people that smoke weed and, you know, they never change and they don't move forward. Well, 95% of them. I have some friends that smoke and they're just fine, but 95% of people, it's like it puts you in a holding pattern. Maybe it raised your vibration and your emotional level for a minute, and that's why you're doing it. But then it goes back down, and you just have to keep all that money and all that time for weed. And I always tell my friends, man, if you put that in Bitcoin, you'd be rich. You can still buy Bitcoin, even though it's like $52,000 for one right now. You can buy like $10 worth. That's my other channel, Bitcoin Kindergarten. I'm going to put it in the bottom. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to make a book. You can totally heal depression. You just have to not, oh, that's what I was saying. Like, don't commit suicide. That's what I was telling my sister. That was what I forgot what I was telling. So I came up with that idea because I used to be like so suicidal. Like, oh, life's so hard now. Oh, how I was so dysfunctional. It was very hard for me to do anything because I just couldn't keep a job, nothing. I mean, I'm totally dysfunctional. And so I decided, I was like, oh, well, if I want to commit suicide, then what I can do is just max out all my credit cards and like go to the Caribbean. So there's always some crazy thing that you can do, which is better than dying, because dying is permanent. All this other stuff, like what if I spend $10,000 and bought like a really nice car one, or put a down payment on one? I don't know how much a car is. It's a lot more than that. But You can just go do something radical, you know, that you would never do, even if it's dangerous, even if it's stupid. And dangerous, I don't mean like go to the edge of a cliff and jump. I mean like, you know, buy something you wouldn't do. Or anyway, these are mechanisms for self-soothing. In the end, it's all about self-soothing. I listened to Abraham Hicks for like 2 or 3 years straight every day, because whenever I listen to Abraham Hicks, I always felt better. It's the best. They have like 1 million YouTube videos. That helped me a lot. Go to acupuncture, relax, do meditation, run around. But the thing is, if you're real depressed, like your movement is very small, so it's going to take like, sometimes you can't get stuff done. So you just try to make a little crack, you know, in the wall, and like try to open a tiny bit. This device, red light therapy, do my laundry. I'm using that because I have a Roomba and I don't want to go in that room, but I use it every day. I have exercise class, meditation and Wim Hof, and it's red light therapy, but it actually puts energy into your body. So it totally heals depression. When I bought it, I used to that was like 3 years ago. I bought it for my knees. I was having like inflammation in my knees. It heals tons of stuff, but this most amazing thing it does is put energy in your body. And so energy, ATP, like real actual energy, as if you were eating food. They're not eating any food. So it's like being in the sun, like you're taking the energy from the sun, except for there's no ultraviolet rays or anything like that in it. So it gives you energy. It also is known to reverse Alzheimer's. So that means it gets into your brain and makes your brain better. So this is FDA approved for regenerated collagen. The brain is mostly collagen. So between the brain healing and the energy that it's putting in your body, it's an amazing device. I got an expensive one. It cost me, like, I paid it off over a year. You can get a smaller one. There's probably other ones. There are other ones, but this is the one that I investigated and bought. You know, at that time, like 3 years ago, it was the top one on the market. It's hard to know. You know, you have to really investigate stuff. You got to make sure it's a good product. This one that I have, which is in my links, is the very good one. It has just the right wavelength, just the right power. It has LED and near infrared light, and also is supposedly low EMF. It's not that low. It's got one of those big, heavy, you know, plugins. So it's amazing. I can tell. I got my friend to buy one. I can tell if she's been using it or not by the way she answers the phone. If she answers the phone like this, like, I'll be like, you haven't been using your red light, have you? Which I got her to get it for her back. She was laid out on the floor for like 2 months. It heals joints. It's good for the bloodstream, the lymphatic system. It has 30 years of research from Harvard and the NIH. Like, pretty much cures everything. Speeds up healing. So I did not have MCS when I got this, but I've always been curious. You know, if you do have a very serious chronic illness, I know that it will go a long way in the healing of it. I use it a lot for my concussion, my brain injury, and my back injury. Probably if I did not have that, I might not be able to, you know, talk this fast, because I was talking really slow for quite a while. I was very brain injured. So just stay alive another day, you know, learn tricks to make yourself feel better. You're the only one that you have. Like, even you got kids, you got husband, you're failing in all of those. Doesn't matter. You know, your kids have their own life. You know, my parents were horrendous, and you know what? I'm still happy that I was born, if it had to be to them. And, you know, it's what I had. So, you know, sometimes we feel like, you know, the whole world is on our shoulders and all these people are responsible for, but really, you know, especially if you have any belief system, you know, God or whatever, it's like, you know, each person has access to infinite power, to source, to God, to whatever. So just, you know, really like find what can make you happy, and, you know, negativity detox, man. and get some money and get some Bitcoin. All right, I'm going to hang up. I just get very chatty, but I got to go. Put your comments in the bottom. Smash the likes and come to my live streams. You can ask me any question about healing, about detoxing, about depression. I know it's totally healable. And in my case, I went to tons of therapy, took all those medicines, and I don't think they did that much good. That's my own non-medical opinion. And I think they're depressing because it's depressing because you're like, okay, therapy and medication. You go to therapy and medication, you come out of an hour of therapy, you're like, man, this is worse than ever. I mean, it's good to learn how to talk a little bit, I guess, but it didn't heal anything because, you know, a lot of medicine, they're not like super good at healing stuff. They just never really, they just don't focus on it because then they go out of business. So I want to go out of business. Everybody get well. Ciao.